How many of you went to bed last night before the game was over? How many of you went to bed Sunday night thinking the game was over? I have said it once. I will say it no less than 100 more times. God bless football. Gosh darn, we had another one. Outstanding. The weekend continued to deliver. A game that was, for lack of a better term, a trash can garbage match, turned into an outstanding performance and an outstanding show of coaching and a come-from-behind victory. Darn it, football's fantastic. I absolutely love it. Everything about last night proved what I had been saying all offseason. The minute J.J. McCarthy had a solid running game, They used Jordan Mason. The minute they had a solid running game, the Vikings offense looked better. The minute it relied on Caleb Williams to really make plays and make throws, he failed. Two things can always be true at once. Number one, it was a great comeback. Number two, it was an epic collapse. This game was 17-6 heading into the fourth quarter. Bears comfortably in the lead. And then there was this one play by Caleb Williams. This one play that really set him back. He tried to do too much because he had screwed up holding onto the ball too long again. Pressure comes in the pocket, he scrambles, loses his footing, and then he tries to throw the ball away while going to the ground. Now, he's lucky they called it incomplete because I could have swore the ball was out when his arm was going back, let alone going forward. I thought the ball was coming out when it was going back, and he kind of pushed the ball forward. So they got lucky it wasn't a fumble to begin with. But that intentional grounding made the field goal try longer than it had to be. And then, just like I said yesterday, Cairo Santos, I said the weakest link on this Bears team is the kicker. I said it in the snapshots, and unfortunately, he proved me right. Cairo Santos misses a field goal that every kicker needs to make 9 times out of 10 now, if not 10 out of 10 at this point. We're kicking 50-yarders consistently now. Will Reichard hit a Soldier Field record 59-yarder last night. Could you imagine Santos trying a 59-yarder? I don't even want to think about that. But what did the game really look like? Well, the game really looked like Ben Johnson trying to get Caleb Williams into a rhythm. Now, the touchdown pass that McCarthy had to Justin Jefferson opening in the fourth quarter, that was their first third down conversion in the whole game. The first one through the whole game. So let's piece this correctly. The Vikings offense, if there is no running game, you can shut them down, shut them out. They are awful. Justin Jefferson got loose. There were multiple injuries in the secondary last night. 2 starters were out for the Bears. With that, Jefferson still didn't get completely loose. He didn't run over him. McCarthy hit a couple of very key plays. Jefferson was involved. At the same time, they ran the football. And that is how they came back. So when you look at the numbers, the Vikings, Jordan Mason, 15 rushes, 68 yards. McCarthy added 2 rushes. Aaron Jones, 8 rushes, 23 yards. And then Jefferson had an end-around rush for 4 yards. 26 total rushes, 120 yards. Not bad. J.J. McCarthy, 13 of 20, 143 yards, 2 touchdowns, 1 interception, which was returned for a touchdown by Chicago. 3 sacks for the Bears defense. He wasn't horrible. But when you look at everything, you just kind of start noticing they aren't going to be in these games against other teams. The first 3 quarters, that defense wasn't playing outstanding by any stretch for the Vikings. The first 3 quarters, the offense was dreadful. Then momentum. That big MO, that big momentum swung with that missed field goal, really, really short field to be able to drive down. Big runs by Mason. Couple of very timely passes by JJ. And they're back in the game. And then the defense gets another stop because Flores dials up the pressure. And guess what? Caleb, the minute pressure comes, boy, does he panic. And this was on him. Make no mistake, this was on him. He missed multiple throws that should have been complete. DJ Moore was wide open on a corner. He just airmailed him. Just flat out airmailed him. Caleb Williams' accuracy is really going to be an issue. Let's look at the Bears side of this. Caleb Williams, 21 of 35. Not great, not horrible. 210 yards. 1 touchdown, no interceptions. And he was sacked twice by the Viking defense. So not horrible. But at the same time, really, really, really wasn't great. But Caleb Williams was also their highest rusher, which he will probably have to be against good defenses. Caleb Williams ran 6 times for 58 yards. DeAndre Swift had 17 rushes for 53 yards. And DJ Moore had 3 rushes for 8 yards. So as a team, they had 26 rushes, same as Minnesota, for 119 yards. Not horrible. 4.6 yards a carry. The numbers don't say it was horrible, but the actions on the field do. Colston Loveland only had 2 catches last night. DJ Moore had 3. 3 catches, 68 yards on 5 targets. Rome Odunze, 6 catches, 37 yards on 9 targets. Think about that for a second. 9 targets, 6 receptions, only 37 yards. Caleb Williams also missed DeAndre Swift on dump-off passes. It really looked choppy. And I don't like overreacting because it's week 1. I have already dubbed week 2 as question week. We're going to find out a little bit more, and most of the puzzle will be put together after week number 2. We've got some matchups, and I'm going to slightly preview some of them today. We've got some matchups that will kind of show us where these teams are at. That is what's happening this week. But this game looked awful. Fourth quarter, 28 points were scored in the fourth quarter by itself. The Vikings come back, but the Bears also collapsed, starting with their quarterback. When the pressure ramped up, he became ultra inaccurate. Very inaccurate. So, guess what, Caleb? You've been in the league now for over a year. You've been starting. You can't panic in a big game, opening night, Monday Night Football, standalone game. You just showed everybody you still panic if you don't have your comforts of life, which some of us called out at USC. Prissy doesn't work as an NFL quarterback. You can't be prissy. You got to be willing to get dirty. You got to be willing to get hit. You got to be willing to make the throw. And that's what it comes down to. To his credit, J.J. McCarthy did make a few of those throws. But I do believe that's where his attempts need to be. You get much above 20 attempts a game, and you're in trouble. McCarthy with no run game looks awful, lost, completely frazzled. Caleb Williams with pressure, lost, completely frazzled. Ben Johnson will know by Thanksgiving whether or not they are moving on from Caleb Williams next year. Yes, I said it. Ben Johnson will know by Thanksgiving if they're moving on from Caleb Williams. Will Caleb Williams get another opportunity somewhere else if that happens? I don't know. But we will know. Ben Johnson inside the building will know if Caleb Williams is the quarterback he can win games with. And we're going to find out what happens next week against a Lions team that Sunday looked kind of inept in the play calling department. So we'll see. But there's other news. And this is the news that I told you we were going to go over today. I was looking at some of it earlier. So let's go ahead and look at some of the injuries. So for the Arizona Cardinals, they have got Joey Blount, the safety, and Cody Simon. Both of them are going to be in concussion protocol heading into this week. Zaven Collins has a hand injury. It may or may not keep him out for a while. But the good news for the Cardinals is they played the Panthers. So they should be okay. They should be okay. The Atlanta Falcons have not given an update on Drake London. It is one of the biggest ones I myself am waiting on. That is one of the big ones that I'm looking at because he is a big part of why the Falcons are a lethal duo this year between him, Penix, and Robinson. Sunday proved why they drafted Michael Penix. He threw 2 balls in the corner, getting the Falcons set up to score a touchdown. Hodge flat out missed it. And McLeod just wasn't able to get it. Kyle Pitts looked halfway decent. He looks refreshed. He's thinned out again. He looks pretty good. The Falcons have a team. For the Baltimore Ravens, nothing new to update as of right now. The Buffalo Bills, also nothing new. But for the Carolina Panthers, this is not good. Tershawn Wharton, the defensive tackle, he's going to miss 2 to 4 weeks with his hamstring injury. And then Akeem Ekwonu, their offensive tackle, is currently questionable with his injury. So that is not going to be great. Panthers are already still kind of thin on everything. They don't need a bunch of injuries. Now, I said the Bears had people out last night. Kyler Gordon did not play last night. Jalen Johnson did not play last night. TJ Edwards did not play last night. So you had 3 very key defensive players that were out, and J.J. McCarthy still looked that bad. I just want to throw that out there. For the Cincinnati Bengals, their offensive line is going to be worse for at least 1 week, if not 2. Lucas Patrick, their starting guard, is said to be out because of a calf injury. They're hoping to have him back for the game on the 21st, but this week against Jacksonville's no slouch up front. And the way that Cincinnati got rolled by Cleveland, which has a really good defense, and I am not taking away from anything from Cleveland, Jacksonville's got a lot better offense. The way that offensive line is now going to have to piece together, Burrow looked absolutely uncomfortable. It's going to get interesting. The Bengals avoided going 0-4 in September. But remember, I said they've got to avoid going 1-3 because their schedule is rough. The game against the Jaguars at home is huge. Huge. But they will not have their starting guard. The starting offensive tackle, veteran Jack Conklin, is currently questionable because of an eye issue. He got hit in the eye. We'll see. We'll monitor where he's at heading into this week. The Browns are playing the Ravens. It's not going to matter who's there and who's not. Just saying. Just saying. So, Perion Winfrey, a defensive tackle for the Dallas Cowboys, with a back injury, was placed on injured reserve yesterday, thinning out their defensive line again. So I'm sure we'll see somebody else signed here shortly. Jamarco Jones, the offensive tackle for the Detroit Lions, is going to be out for the rest of the 2025 season. He was placed on injured reserve with an ankle injury that'll keep him out for the year. Terrion Arnold, the cornerback, has a groin injury, and head coach Dan Campbell, he's hoping it doesn't last very long, but we've seen these groin injuries. They tend to stick around. They tend to not go anywhere, and it's normally not very good. All right, so Aaron Banks, the outstanding offensive guard for the Green Bay Packers, was limited because of an ankle and groin injury in yesterday's practice. Zach Tom, because of an oblique issue, which especially as an offensive tackle you use a lot of, he is currently questionable. Nate Hobbs with the knee injury is also questionable, and they're waiting on Micah Parsons consistently. But you've got, once again, 3 receivers: Wicks, Golden, and Jaden Reed. All of them are on the injury report. We've got calf for Wicks, ankle injury for Golden, and foot injury for Jaden Reed. Maybe it's just not in anybody's best interest to be a wide receiver for the Green Bay Packers. Maybe that's what you're not supposed to be. Who knows? All right, for the Texans, their center, Jake Andrews, does have a high ankle sprain, which is unfortunate, and they're going to keep monitoring it. There is no time frame on when he's going to be back yet. Charvarius Ward, a corner for the Indianapolis Colts, played an outstanding game Sunday. He is now in concussion protocol. He started showing signs Monday morning. Folks, I love football, but I do understand the violence of it, so that part is never lost on me. And I am happy that there are certain coaches that are okay on Monday morning looking at a player and going, you're not right. You're not right. So Charvarius Ward is now in concussion protocol. Jalen Jones, one of the other corners, is currently injured hamstring. Not really sure how long he's going to be out. Hamstrings are obviously annoying. Anton Harrison, the offensive tackle for the Jaguars, is having back issues. He is questionable right now. They're going to wait and see how everything plays out. Obviously, we know, not great. Xavier Worthy has a dislocated shoulder for the Kansas City Chiefs. It took forever to get this out, kind of like it is for Drake London. But we finally got this yesterday. Xavier Worthy has a dislocated shoulder that he suffered in the opening game against the Chargers. They're just taking it day by day. He's out for this week with Philly. That's my guess. He's out for this week with Philly. You don't want him injuring it that much more. Okay? The Raiders. I know there were a couple times where Raiders fans were really worried. Brock Bowers said yesterday that he's really not worried about the knee injury. It may be a knee bruise. Nothing else has really come out about it. But Brock Bowers himself said, I'm okay. They won the game. They didn't risk it. And he had an outstanding game. Outstanding game. For the Chargers, after knocking off the Chiefs heading into a battle against the Raiders, Denzel Perryman, their outside linebacker, is week to week right now with a high ankle sprain, which those are absolutely annoying. Absolutely annoying. The Los Angeles Rams. This isn't good for them. The Texans beat them up like I thought they would. Their guard, Steve Avila, sprained ankle. He's questionable. Kevin Dotson, sprained ankle. He's questionable. Both players are now week to week. The Rams are playing the Titans this week in Nashville. The Titans didn't do bad against the Broncos' top 5 offensive line. You've got an offensive line with the Rams now. Their 2 guards are out. Potentially. These guys are week to week now. Your 2 starting guards, left guard, right guard, are out. That's not good. The Miami Dolphins, the guard that they picked up from the Steelers, James Daniels, will be out multiple weeks due to a pectoral strain injury that he has. That doesn't help their offensive line. Xavier Howard yesterday came out and goes, yeah, of course the Colts beat the Dolphins. They immediately put Tua in panic mode because they took away his first option, saying he's not really that good of a quarterback. How many of us have already been saying that? I know a buddy at work that is absolutely pissed off about the contract that they paid him and has basically said, yeah, we're in purgatory until that contract is gone. He hated it, and there are a lot of Dolphins fans that feel the same way. You can't give a B quarterback A+ money and expect to be able to compete in the NFL. You just can't do it. Minnesota Vikings, Blake Cashman last night is going to get a MRI on his hamstring. Jeff Okudah did suffer a head injury last night, probable concussion. He's going to be in concussion protocol. Julian Blackmon for the Saints, they picked him up. He is, boom, probably out. It was interesting. The initial report yesterday was Julian Blackmon could be out for a long time. Odds are this shoulder injury is actually going to take Blackmon out for the year. So look for the Saints to bring in somebody else to be able to play. They also, unfortunately, Tailisi Fuanga, their offensive tackle, outstanding offensive tackle, has a knee injury and is now week to week with that knee injury as well. When you look at the New York Giants, a lot of things can go wrong. Some things can go right, but never if you're a Giants fan. Micah McFadden, their all-star linebacker, absolute stud. Micah McFadden did suffer a leg injury against the Commanders, but there was no structural damage. It is highly bruised. I don't know if he's going to be playing against the Cowboys this week. My guess is he's going to try to convince everybody like, hey, you got to let me play. We could beat this team. And I would. If I'm them, I would. I would absolutely let him play. No doubt. No update. Landon Dickerson went out in Thursday's game for the Eagles. And he's got a back injury, which are annoying if you're an offensive lineman. So we'll see what happens. We'll see what happens. For the Steelers right now, everything basically um, looks okay. Joey Porter Jr. did deal with some tightness in his hamstring. Malik Harrison has a knee injury now. He's out for at least a week or two. Deshaun Elliott also is probably out for a week or two with a knee injury. The San Francisco 49ers, this one is huge. This is huge. George Kittle is going to miss 3 to 5 weeks due to a hamstring injury. These hamstring injuries, now see, this is what I'm used to saying. And I don't know if I spoke it into existence. I don't know. Because last week I was commenting to Big J that back when I was, I was a kid and coming up through the teenage years, I saw injuries to the hamstrings all the time. We didn't see all these ACL injuries and MCLs. It was more hamstring injuries. You saw those all the time. And recently it's been ACL, 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 ACL. Well, now, week number 1, and we've got hamstring, 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 knee, 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 ankle, ankle, hamstring, hamstring. Interesting. And hamstrings are, those things get worked as an NFL player. So, Kittle is out for at least 3, probably 4 or 5 weeks. Brock Purdy has a toe injury and a shoulder injury. He will not practice this week. Hoping he can play against the Saints. He may not be healthy enough to play against the Saints. This could be a game that the Saints could steal. Just saying. Jawan Jennings, they're really unsure if he's ever going to play. They're really unsure. They're waiting on imaging to come back on his shoulder because something's not making sense. For the Seattle Seahawks, Nick Emmanwori, a outstanding rookie safety. I had really high hopes for him. Has a high ankle sprain, and he is currently week to week. Tampa Bay Buccaneers, so far, are okay, except for Tristan Wirfs is out still for a couple more weeks. Tennessee Titans, J.C. Latham has a hip injury. That is not good. He is a vital part of that offensive line for the Titans. But if he can go against the Rams, I think they got a shot. I really think they got a shot. So then we get to the Commanders, and this is the last of the injuries. Noah Brown, the wide receiver, has a knee injury. He's day-to-day. Austin Eckler. Why is it always Eckler? Is also questionable with a shoulder injury. I swear, that guy's just got to get healthy. That guy just has to get healthy. That's all there is to it. I mean, good gosh. Austin Eckler has been just, geez. He's been injured so much. I feel sorry for him. I really do. I really feel sorry for him. All right. That can leave. Here we go. Halfway through, let's get to the 10,000-foot view of sports. And today, as usual, we are going to work through the baseball results. Here we go. Last night, we had game number 1 of the Phillies and New York Mets series. Remember, what are you doing? Remember, this is a huge series, 4-game series. And the Phillies took game 1 1-0. 1-0. So the Phillies have officially put their division lead well in hand. We had 2 no-hit bids going on last night. Ciccone for the Guardians had a no-hit bid heading into the 8th. The Guardians beat the Royals 10-2. And then the Dodgers again missed a no-hitter as they knocked off the Rockies 3-1. The Mariners beat the Cardinals 4-2. The Padres, I told you about this series yesterday, a sneaky series to watch. Knocked off the Reds 4-3, but in extras. In 10. The Chicago Cubs, again, no bats. It's getting awful. No bats. Lost to Atlanta 4-1. The problem is, or I guess the good thing is, the Brewers also lost and they got blanked by the Rangers. 5-0. The highest scoring team yesterday was the Washington Nationals, winning their game 15-7 over the Marlins. The Giants beat the Diamondbacks 11-5. And this is becoming a daily watch when it comes to how everything is playing out. Especially when you look at the wild card. The Rangers are only a game and a half back of the Mariners now in the American League wild card. The Guardians are 2.5 back, the Royals are 3, and the Rays are still alive technically, but they're 4.5 back. On the other side, the Giants and the Reds are continuing to close on the Mets. The Mets have to be careful because the Padres are now 3 games in front of them. The Cubs are still 5 games in front of them, even though they've lost 3 in a row. But the Giants are now 3 games behind the Mets. The Reds are 4. This is big. The Mets need to take some of these games from the Phillies because the Giants are lurking. The Mets have lost 3 straight. It's not good. The Padres have won 3 in a row. And as you look at everything, the Guardians are on a 4-game win streak. Mariners on a 3-game win streak. And when you look at it, I believe it's actually the longest streak right now is only the 4 games by the Guardians. Yeah. So right now, it's 4 games by the Guardians. The last 10 doesn't look outstanding for anybody. The best in the last 10 games is 7-3. So no 8-2s, no 9-1s, really competitive baseball. And the wild card is really, really shaping up here. We only had 1 game in the WNBA last night. The Atlanta Dream absolutely smoked the Connecticut Sun 87-62. Now, an interesting development because of how everything plays out. The WNBA was actually warned, and I was reading up on this story. One of the senators for Connecticut actually sent a letter to the WNBA warning the league to stay out of the negotiations for the sale of the Connecticut Sun. Threatening the WNBA if they do anything to attempt to block the Sun from staying in Connecticut. Now, I looked up a little bit of this, and I don't know why. I know there are, some places where they think they may want to try. I know they have talked about St. Louis because of how that fan base works. St. Louis deserves an NFL team. They can handle an NFL team. That I was up in the Arch over Labor Day weekend, with my wife, and that it's still over there. That stadium's still sitting there. St. Louis can handle it. They could handle a basketball team. They could handle a WNBA team, and I think it would work. I really do. I think it would work. So tonight, though, we got some key games tonight. Tonight, you've got the Minnesota Lynx coming to Indiana to play the Fever. The Fever are officially in the playoffs after they crushed the Mystics the other night. But there's 2 games you really need to watch. The Sparks of Los Angeles are against the Mercury of Phoenix. The Sparks are trying to play themselves in to the playoffs. And the team they need to lose is the Seattle Storm. They're playing the Golden State Valkyries, which are right above them in the standings. So 6th in the standings is the Valkyries at 23 and 19. 7th is the Fever at 23 and 20. Then you've got the Storm sitting there at 22 and 21 in 8th, and the Sparks at 20 and 22. There's only one. There is only one spot left open in the WNBA playoffs, and that is the 8th spot. And it will be either the Storm or the Sparks. So that is what is going on tonight in the WNBA. Remember, it is over on Thursday. So we only have tonight, tomorrow, and Thursday left before the playoffs. Big games tonight. If the Storm can beat the Valkyries, they're in the playoffs. But if the Sparks beat the Mercury and the Storm lose, it's going to set up an interesting last 2 days. All right, there is another bit of NFL news. A trade took place yesterday that I don't really understand. The Philadelphia Phillies acquired Tank Bigsby from the Jaguars for a 6th and a 5th round pick next year. They've made some really, really interesting moves. They got, John Michie, Sam Howell, Fred Johnson. They've made some interesting trades for role players, okay? From everything I have read, from everything I have heard, it sounds like Bigsby was brought in to be able to handle the return duties. Not a bad move. You gave up a 5th and a 6th round pick for it, but not a bad move. But he does also give you depth at running back should A.J. Dillon get hurt again, and should anything happen to Will Shipley. But I think they gave up a little bit too much, but they're trying to get back to the Super Bowl, so you might as well. Jaguars, I think, actually did a really good job. You get 2 decent picks to be able to continue building for Liam Cohen. You got a week 1 victory. That's big. That is big. When you look at the head coaches, the new head coaches in their debuts, how did they fare? Liam Cohen with the Jaguars. I liked the offensive setup. Trevor Lawrence was zipping the ball a lot more, looked a lot more comfortable in the offense than he had in the past. I really liked how he looked comparatively. They're still working into things. When you look at Kellen Moore and the Saints, can we really say that it was a bad showing? You scored 13 points against the Cardinals. You had a chance to tie at the end of the game. I think it wasn't really that bad. Then you look at the Patriots and Raiders. Obviously, Pete Carroll gets the W with the Raiders. To me, I told you yesterday, I put that loss on Josh McDaniels. Why is Drake May throwing 46 times? Hand the ball to Travion Henderson. Run the football. You have to run the football. Have to. It's just, I don't get it. Last night proved why. J.J. McCarthy needs a running game. Caleb Williams needs a running game. Drake May, Bo Nix, Michael Penix, they need a running game. Give them some comfort. Give them some structure so that it's not all on them to try to win these games. Aaron Glenn with the Jets, in a loss, looked outstanding. The Jets played great. His side of the ball wasn't so fantastic on the defense, but it played great. And then Ben Johnson last night. Listen, I think Ben Johnson, like I said, will know ahead of time. He will know whether or not Caleb Williams is the quarterback of the future by Thanksgiving. I don't think there's really any question about that whatsoever. I really don't. All right. So, NFL, fully recapped. Whew. Wild weekend. Couple days off before we get into Thursday night. We'll get into some of the previews tomorrow, and as we start ramping up for another week. I wanted to close this. We're going to finish this out going over some of the things that are going on in college football. And I want to bring this up because we had the issue that I talked about last week with Bill Belichick, North Carolina, him being, the grumpy old snort trying to run North Carolina as if it's the New England Patriots and hurting his players' ability to get drafted, hurting his players' ability to actually have a career. This isn't the NFL. They're acting like fools, and they really got to be careful. The AD may eventually have to step in. I know the parents aren't going to be happy. Like I told you, how would you feel if your coach denied scouts the ability to watch your kid play when they're trying to go after their dream? Just answer that question. And that's all there is to it. It's a matter of right and wrong. It is that simple. Something else that's going on, and I said this, I said it looked weird week number 1 between Texas and Ohio State. Arch didn't look comfortable, and he didn't look comfortable in the pads because he was constantly going like this with his shoulders. And then I watched some of the game, the highlights. I went back and I rewatched some of the footage. And somebody had come out and said, is Arch injured? I think it was Kurt Benkert said it first. So I went and I looked back and I was like, you know what? That's possible. My question is, if he is injured, why? Obviously, against Ohio State, you wanted Arch Manning. San Jose State, you just kind of want to get right. Oh, okay, I'll give you that one. But why risk it? He does look like he's in pain when he's throwing the ball. If you notice, there is no air on the ball with Arch Manning, which isn't right. He knows how to throw football. He doesn't even look like how he was throwing the football last year. The ball is just nosediving out of his hand. He's throwing it in the dirt a lot. I don't like speculation. But there is definite concern of whether or not Arch Manning is 100% healthy. And remember, this is college. I never thought he was coming out this year. You guys have heard me say this all offseason. I don't think he's coming out. That's not what Mannings do. And he's going to have plenty to learn, especially with the way this season's currently started. The way his stats look, the way he's playing, doesn't look great. So there's that issue with Arch. Another issue is we had a Florida Gator player, and I didn't see this on Saturday. It popped up yesterday. We had a Florida Gator player apologized for spitting at a UCF player. Defensive tackle. Please don't let this be a trend. Defensive tackles around the country. Do not let this be the trend. And this one, I didn't realize because I was watching another game at the time. This is the penalty that I had heard about that gave the Bulls a first down, which was their winning field goal drive to beat the Gators. What are we doing? I'm not a trash talker. I get trash talk and I play along with it. I'm not a trash talker. I don't care. It may be because of I've been in management since I could work, so I've always had to be the professional. So I don't trash talk. But whatever happened to just trash talking? Now we're spitting consistently. That was the second defensive tackle in 3 days to spit at an opposing player. Don't let this become a trend, please. And there's still no word on whether or not Jalen Carter for the Eagles is going to be playing the game against the Chiefs. Still no word. None at all. So you had that happened. And then you have this whole thing. I really don't like this. I watched the Mississippi State game. Okay. I watched that game. Mississippi State owned Arizona State. The game was outstanding. I loved it. And the SEC fined Mississippi State I watched the game. The fans did not storm the field the same as what we would say storming the field, storming the court. Florida State got a $50,000 fine for the same thing in the win over Alabama. The rule for the SEC is if the opposing players are allowed to get off the field before fans enter the field, the penalty is waived. That's what the SEC says. I don't. There's an aspect of this I don't like. I mean, let's be honest. The SEC gets the money, and guess what it's going to do? It goes right back to them. It's just going to get spread right back to them. It's a fake fine. I get it. But can we stop pretending to fine these people? And why? Why? Nobody actually rushed that field. It wasn't the same. It was very, very different. It didn't look, I mean, the players got off the field still in a timely manner. But I love the emotion of the fans. In college, it's about the students. It's about the school. And this is something that I have talked about before, and this is something I wish we could do. Post game, I think, needs to be in college where you're able to shake hands. It's not like in Little League or Pee Wee where you just line up and you give, just go GG, 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 just straight down the line with your hand out, high-fiving everybody down the line. That's not what we do. We're adults at this point. We actually go up and we say, hey, good job, great play, whatever. But how come we can't do it after the game? After everything? It's a huge celebration. Arizona State, you were 12th in the country. Mississippi State, consistently picked to finish last in their conference, just beat a ranked opponent for the first time since 1991 in their home city. Are in that building. I mean, it was the first win over a top 15 non-conference team since 91. It's a big win. Let them celebrate. Big wins need to be celebrated. All right. Something we haven't talked about is NBA. And guess what? We're not going to start now. NBA is still too far off. We got football, and that's it. Final thought. Brian Callahan. I have said I think there are plenty of better coaching options that could have been hired, but the Titans wanted somebody that they didn't have to worry about challenging them like Vrabel did. Well, they got a coach that didn't challenge them, and he also didn't challenge a play because he misunderstood the catch rule. Okay, how many years do we need to go over the catch rule? How many years do we have to go over this whole catch rule? Challenge it. Why? Challenge it. Make your case for your team. Ugh. He didn't understand. He misinterpreted the catch rule. Oh, heavens. Well, Titans organization, you kind of got what you paid for. Cam Ward looks the part. He is going to be an outstanding quarterback for you. I don't know if he's going to be a superstar. He's going to be an outstanding starting quarterback for you for the next 10 years if you keep him around. And you've got a coach right now that doesn't even understand the catch rule. Just saying. Just saying. I mean, can't make this crap up. You just can't make this crap up. And that's going to be where we end it, guys. That's going to be where we end it. I'm not going to lie. I'm a little worn out. It has been such a wild, wild weekend. And I've got a lot, I'm looking forward to this coming weekend. Freedom Fest here in Indianapolis, the 9/11 Memorial Ride. Looking forward to that. Taking the kids, some of the kids with us to ride on the back of the bikes. It's going to be an outstanding time. Can't wait. We'll get to the previews for this coming week. We'll start those tomorrow. And we'll get through the fantasy, get to the fantasy deep dive on Thursday. And we'll just start getting ready for next week. Week 1 delivered everything, guys. Week 1 delivered everything. Just think about all the close games. 2 points, 3 points, 3 points, 2 points, 1 point. NFL football is the best. I know not a lot of underdogs won this week. Next week, I've got some of my lock bets that I'm doing for the spreads that I feel pretty comfortable with, and I'll give you those tomorrow. I actually already locked one in because I didn't want it to change. I didn't want to get a worse spread option, so I locked it in already, and I got a couple others that I've already locked in now as well. So I'll give you those 3 locks tomorrow. We'll go over whatever news comes out as far as injuries, as we're still waiting on a couple. Drake London's injury does concern me, so keep an eye on that. It's Tuesday. No football tonight. So get some good sleep. You can go to bed tonight, and I promise you, you will not miss an exciting ending to a football game tonight. I promise you. Double dog promise you. You will not miss an exciting ending to a football game tonight. So, with that being said, that is going to be it for me. I will see you guys tomorrow, 23 hours from now. And I'm going to hopefully recoup my energy level because it's been really exciting. And it's why we love football. It is why we love football. Thank you guys so much for hanging out. Make sure to like and subscribe. Have an absolutely fantastic rest of your Tuesday. Make it the best day that you can. And I will talk to you guys tomorrow. Until then, for Sports Talk with Hawk, I am Hawk, and I'm out. Have a great day.